Hey guys, welcome back to 44's channel. If you're new here, my name is Jess and I make videos on topics within personal development and I post them every Saturday. I'm also a life coach, so if you'd like to book a session with me, I've included my information in the description box. If you're wondering where the description box is, because I know, well actually my mom was like, where is this description box that you always talk about? If you see under the video, there's like a little triangle arrow thing. So like directly under the video part and above the comments, just click that, it's on the right. And yes, and then that will show you the description. That's just where I add extra things or different links or like my contact details. And then also you'll see, my mom was also asking this, but she was like, how do I comment? So she was like, please make a video explaining how do you comment, how do I comment on your videos. So you'll see under the description box or like directly under the video, there's a thing that says something like see comments or post comments. You'll see something that says something about comments. So yes, just click there, and then in order to comment on that, you would need your own YouTube account. And yeah. So as you can see from this video, I've completed or filled out 25 journals in 2 years. And I have made a video sort of about this. I made a video in the past. It was one of my first videos. It was called What Are Morning Pages? So this does link to that, but I wanted to make another video because I've got new perspective and something else that I wanted to talk about. And I just think like it's cool that it's been 2 years and now I've filled out 25 journals. So you can see behind me, these are all my journals. Okay, so I've got 25 of these. So just to give you some background, in the past, I remember I was that person who would buy journals or who would be given journals as gifts. And then I would say, okay, I'm going to start my diary. And then I don't know if I ever did the Dear Diary thing, but I might have. But you know, the whole cliche, Dear Diary, blah, 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 this happened in my day, this is how I'm feeling. So I used to kind of do that, except the problem was that after 3 days, I would just give up. And it would just be like, whatever, I don't feel like doing that anymore. And then it would be neglected. And I remember having like probably a few journals where the first 3 pages had been filled out and the rest of it was just blank. And it was one of those things I was always ambitious about. I was always like, oh, it'd be so cool to keep a diary, but I just wasn't filling up the pages. So that's actually why I wanted to make this video, is maybe for you, if you have been in a similar situation to me where you keep buying journals but you're not filling them up. So I think some of the things or some of the reasons why I've struggled with journaling in the past has firstly been because sometimes it's got boring or it's felt irrelevant. But also like a big thing for me and what I've noticed is that sometimes I feel like I struggle to, let's put it this way, like dirty a page. So by that I mean I find it hard where if there's a blank piece of paper for me to fill that piece of paper. I think maybe from a like perfectionisty point of view, or I'm like, something has to be worthy enough to fill this piece of paper. Because I think maybe it could be like a space issue. I don't want to waste a piece of paper. Or like say like I had a journal and it was just filled with, I actually have a journal here. It's not open. Okay, hold on, let me open this. Okay, so I've opened it. So as you can see, there's a whole lot of blank pages here. And I think it's like, I don't know why, and I don't know if anyone else experiences it, but it feels like in order for me to, it's like there's, I mean, even though I have tons of journals, like that's the other funny thing, but for some reason my brain's like, I can't fill these pages unless they're like perfect. And I think like that in a sense makes it harder for me to practice or to try or to just do something creative, because I'm like, it has to be perfect or else you're just wasting paper. I don't know why I have that. It's quite weird. And if you have experienced this, like let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, like So I will open a journal, and then, because like even in the past, like sometimes I've said, oh, okay, I'm gonna use a journal for specifically this, or like specifically for Spanish words. I remember I did have a journal like that, and it was like so hard for me to say like I'm gonna devote this page to Spanish words, because I'm like, am I gonna utilize the pages properly? And I'd be like, oh, I'm not gonna fill out all the pages, or I need something that's like relevant to fill the pages. I don't even know, but like it's like a struggle for me to fill space up, and to like use paper and to just write anything, because I'm like, it's like not perfect, yeah, for some weird reason. And this also links with art example. Like I do have this urge to just get a canvas and just like paint anything on it. And I'm going to do that. Like I've decided, because I've like diagnosed this in myself. But yeah, so like what I've noticed in the past is that it's like hard for me to like pick up a canvas and just like do anything on it, because I feel like there's so many possibilities. I think I could link to this. There's so many possibilities of what could go onto the canvas, and I'm like, how do you just choose one? And I feel like that's kind of like a thing that like fits in with the rest of my life, is that I find it hard to just pick something and like that's the thing, like that's the choice, because there's so much to choose. I'm like, okay, but how do, like, you know, I could go this direction, or I could go this direction, or I could go this direction, and I'm not just like picking a direction. And then because of that, all these things end up being blank, because I can't just pick something, because there's so much to do, or there's so much to choose from, there's so many different possibilities. So yeah, but I definitely like have seen that like I want to be more creative, and I realized that within the creative process, it shouldn't just be about like the outcome, or like example, painting to show somebody that painting, or painting it to prove that you're good. Because like for me, I feel like with painting and stuff, it's kind of been like suppressed in me, because I don't think I've been like that good at art, but in a sense that I'm not like everyone else. So other people paint or draw a certain way, and I'm like, oh, I can't draw like that, so therefore I can't paint, or like I can't like do anything. I can't like be creative. And like what I've realized is that creativity doesn't need to have an outcome, and that people have to like. Like you can sometimes just draw for the sake of drawing, or you can write for the sake of writing, and it doesn't have to go anywhere. It's just that process of being creative, and of drawing, and of painting, and of like filling space, which can be rewarding in itself. It doesn't have to have an outcome. So yeah, so that's definitely something that I've been wanting to do, is just get a canvas and just paint anything, because like it doesn't matter if it's wonderful, if it's not wonderful. Like that's not the point. It's more the point of how it can be fun to draw. And I mean, also the thing with art and writing and all of that, I mean, it's something that I don't really think that you can grade or mark. Like I remember even at school with essays and stuff, I didn't understand how you can mark something like creative writing, because I think it's something that's so subjective. Like art in general, I don't understand how people can say, oh, like that's 10 out of 10 and that's like 2 out of 10, because, you know, like in a sense, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. I think it's so subjective. And I think maybe like the problem with all these, I mean, now I'm just like talking about something else, but with all this creativity, I feel like they put, like I'm saying in the school sense, they put boundaries with art. I feel like it's like, oh, you can do art in this particular way, or like you can write in this particular way, like do it like this. And I think the problem with that is that you can end up ignoring your voice, or like, as I say, like for me, I would avoid painting or trying or doing anything, because I was like, I don't paint like other people. Like for me, I think I would be more of an abstract person. I mean, well, an abstract artist. And it's like, I'm like, oh, but school doesn't do that, and like other people aren't doing that, and then it's like I just don't do anything. So like, yeah, like it's just something that I've been thinking of. So how this all fits in with my journaling, because like I've spoken about how I find it hard to fill up spaces, but then unbelievably I've managed to fill out 25 journals in 2 years. So how I did it was that, so in the past I stumbled across this book called The Artist's Way. Actually, I didn't stumble across it. Like one day I was walking and I just stumbled across it on the floor. No, my friend was reading it, and then she somehow, anyway, I ended up borrowing it. And it was like incredible. It was this, I think it was like 12-week course. So either 8-week, 10-week, 12-week, somewhere along there. And so it wasn't like a conventional book, like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. It was basically like week 1, week 2, week 3. And you couldn't just sit down and read the whole thing like a normal book. It was like a course. So it would say week 1, and then it would give you like some writing on like the theme of the week, and then it would give you activities to do that week. And then there was like a reflection part and that sort of thing. And then week 2 would be on a different topic within creativity, and it would also have activities and like a reflection part. And then it would do that for 12 weeks. And the whole aim of the book is to unblock creative blocks. So like what I was talking about, how I found it hard to just fill up space and write stuff and do something. And that really links with perfectionism. So it would I remember there was a chapter on perfectionism and like all different topics. And the aim is to help you just be creative and just do stuff for the sake of doing it and expressing yourself. So one of the activities that's mentioned in this book, so the book's called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And one of the activities is this thing called morning pages. And what morning pages is it's basically when you wake up in the morning, you need to set up, so like how they do it is they say like in the morning. So when you wake up, you set time aside to just take a piece of paper. So actually it was 3 pieces of paper, so like A4 pieces of paper, and then just write until you fill those pieces of paper. And you can write absolutely anything. So it doesn't have to be like writing a poem or anything. It's more just like your thoughts. So whatever's going on in your thoughts, you write it down on a piece of paper. And I remember like even when I read this, I had wanted to do this because I'd watched kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen a psychological movie, and maybe like I think like therapists and psychologists sometimes use it where they just like hand the kid a piece of paper and they just like write anything or draw anything, and then the kid all writes this like dark stuff. So I was kind of thinking along that lines, maybe this is what it is. So yeah, like that's so I was like, cool, like let me try this. And then and like I'm saying, you just write anything. So you could be like, hello, I'm writing in this book, this is quite boring, I don't know what I'm doing, blah blah blah, and you just like write until you filled up all the pieces of paper. So that's what the book says, and I'd started doing that in the past, and then it like really helped me a lot in terms of like the big thing was productivity. My productivity increased a lot, and I was more confident and like expressing myself. And I remember like that first week I suddenly was like, oh, I want to go bake a cake. Like, and I'm not a baker at all. I'm not like I was never one of those people who was like, let's go bake biscuits. No, I wasn't. So it was weird that week that I started doing this thing, I was like, oh, I'm going to bake a cake. And then also the whole reason why I got into YouTube in the first place was honestly because of morning pages. Because when I was doing morning pages, because it basically comes up to like 25 minutes that you have to write. And while I was doing that, I was like, sometimes it would get really boring. And it would just be like, oh, like sometimes 25 minutes would feel like 5 minutes, and sometimes it would feel like 2 years. So the thing is when you're doing the 2 years and you don't have very much to talk about, that's kind of when you start speaking about things that are deeper than, what do I feel like having for lunch? So that's where I started saying things like, oh, like actually I would like to start a YouTube channel, I would like to speak more and do public speaking, but I was super scared about it. And then like through morning pages every day I would kind of like come up with ideas on how to do it or how to practice, or I'd like push myself out of my comfort zone. So morning pages definitely helped me with that. So anyway, like that was like 4 years ago that I was doing that, and then I only did it for like 3 months, and then I stopped doing it. And then like what I would notice is that when I wasn't doing morning pages, so I would like sometimes do it and then sometimes stop doing it, and like, you know, like one of those things where you drop and pick up. So like what I noticed was that when I wasn't doing it, I felt like my life was chaotic and I was avoiding a lot of things. Because when I was doing morning pages, I was actually like writing out like my fears. So they were like coming in front of me. I had to admit those things and do a lot of self-reflection within morning pages. And then when I wasn't doing it, usually I would avoid morning pages when I was like scared or didn't want to actually face something. Then that's when my life felt more like a mess and more like, not like, you know, when you like don't really know what you're doing, it's just kind of like stuck. Stuck is a good word. Like I would feel stuck when I wasn't doing it, and then when I was doing it, I would feel like better because it would be better at encouraging me to take action. So then last year, as part of my, oh no, now I can't say last year anymore because last year was 2020. The year before that, so it was 2019, I decided to come up with these New Year resolution type things, but more like habits, so things that I wanted to do every day or every month. And one of the things I said was that I wanted to do morning pages every single day, like forever. So I changed it, my morning pages, so I don't do it in the morning anymore. I do it whenever, so as long as I have done it through the day, like that's fine. And also, instead of doing 3 pages, I set 25 minutes, so I just have to write anything for 25 minutes sometime in the day. And I've managed to do that every single day for the last 2 years. And that's why, like, from doing that every single day, that's how I've managed to actually fill up 25 journals. Because also the thing is like my morning pages, it's so funny that I still call it morning pages when I don't even do it in the morning, but like that's the term that's used in the artist way. Or maybe it could be like ironic, because a lot of the time I was doing morning pages at midnight, and I was like, this is so ironic because it's like morning pages at midnight. But I think the thing is, like, for me, morning pages, I think in the beginning I was a lot like, oh, maybe someone could read this, or I used to read it. And then eventually I like changed my mind, because I was like sometimes it would be hard if I read over my morning pages, and then I would get those emotions again, or it's something I could have completely forgotten about something, and then I would read it in morning pages, and then I would be like, like I'd be venting about it again, and I'd get back into that energy. So eventually I was just like, I'm not going to read it again. And it's like, my morning pages it's not supposed to have an outcome. It's more just like the actual process of doing it can be so good and so beneficial. But sometimes you can have a lot of mess in your head and you don't know what you're doing, and then if you write it down, or you vent your anger, or you say like, oh, I'm actually really angry about this, or I'm really annoyed with this person and that person, it really helps to write it down, as opposed to just keeping it inside and then going along and pretending it's not there, but it is there. And I think like things like anger and sadness, they're natural emotions. Because sometimes you can be like, oh, like it's bad for me to be angry at that person, or like, you know, like sometimes I feel guilty if I'm like ranting about someone in my like diary, and I'm like, oh, what happens if they were to read this? But I'm like, it's natural. Everyone gets angry with everyone. Like everyone has those days where they feel irritated or sad. And it really just helps to process that anger and to like acknowledge that anger and say, you know what, like I am angry, like I am angry with that person. Am I going to be angry with that person forever? No, but in this particular moment, I am. And then that just really links with what I was talking about, how I found it so hard to actually just fill up stuff, because I was like, oh, it's so hard to fill up a journal because it has to be a perfect thing. And you know, like the example, not that I do this at all, like I don't do poetry, but example, I would find it hard to even write a poem because I'm like, oh, it has to be perfect at the first shot. And like the nice thing about morning pages is it literally doesn't have to be perfect. It can be the biggest load of rubbish, like no one even has to read it, you don't even have to read it. And it's just more the process of you writing and just filling up space and being creative and doing anything and not doing stuff for the sake of other stuff. Like just like a play is a good word. You know, like how they always say that children play and they have fun and they do things just for the sake of doing it, whereas like adults are more like, oh no, I can't do this unless like we get something valuable out of it. And I think like that's just what morning pages is. It's like there's no like necessarily a point behind it. It just is for the sake of, you know, it just is like it's just there for the sake of like whatever. So yeah, like that's just what I wanted to share with you was like how I've like actually managed to do it. And it's about like just letting go of that belief that stuff has to be perfect and stuff has to be done with a point and like people that have to like it and stuff, and like they really don't. Like that shouldn't be the only reason why you are creative and why you are like drawing or making videos or producing art. Like it's supposed to be something that's actually enjoyed, even if no one else is looking at it. And then you may also be wondering how I actually ended up doing it every single day. Like what is it that's, because sometimes you can say, I'm going to do this every single day, and then 3 days later we don't do it. So what is it that caused it? So the thing is that, as I said, like I was doing it in the beginning and then stopped doing it, then was doing it and stopped doing it. And through that, I realized that life was better when I was doing it. So like sometimes I think like that can actually be good if you are constantly failing at doing something. Just don't be like, oh, like this is terrible, because that failure can actually like it has a point, it has a use. Like for me, seeing like you can see the contrast. When you're not doing it, how do you feel? When you are doing it, how do you feel? So like I said, I saw that when I wasn't doing it, life was getting really chaotic. And when I was doing it, I was like, oh, life is actually getting better. I feel like better about myself. And so because there was like a huge motivation for doing it, and there is a huge motivation for doing it, like I will continue doing it because it's had such a great impact in my life. So yeah, and I think like just in habits in general, habits I think are easier to maintain, or like daily things, like it's easier to do stuff when they actually benefits you in a sense and you like really want to do it. Because if you don't really have like a why, or if it's just like whatever, like eventually you're probably gonna not do it. So yeah, I mean, I would definitely give morning pages, ironic morning pages, I would give them a try if you haven't done them before. But if you don't want to do it or you don't like it, like that's perfectly fine. There's lots of different tools and different things and different ways to get like your emotions out and or to get chaos out. Like there's different things. But yeah, if this resonated with you, I would definitely like give it a try. And also if you can, maybe get the book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. That was a huge influence in unblocking creativity in my life. So like I only mentioned one of the things they speak about, but there's a bunch of other things in the book which really helped me with being more creative. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please give it a like. And okay, maybe I've noticed that I don't do the thumbs up that well all the time. Like what kind of thumbs up is this? It's like a lazy thumbs up. So give it a thumbs up. So you'll see like down below in the video. So like my mom is like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to put a like. Okay, so like I'm quite used to YouTube, so that's what I know. But like I know if it's your first time on YouTube, you don't necessarily know where stuff is. So you'll see at the bottom of the video on the left, well, as currently, like from my memory, there's like a thumbs up button, and then thumbs up button, and then a thumbs down button. So click the thumbs up button, and then you'll also see like, so that's directly under the video. You'll also see a button that says subscribe. So it's in red. And so just click that. And in order to subscribe and to like, you need your own account. Like you need your own YouTube account. and I think you can start an account on the top right. I'm not necessarily sure how you start your own account, but in order to like interact, you would need to have your own account. So just press subscribe if you'd like to be, so that basically means that like you'll see like in your news feed, you would see my stuff coming up. But if you'd like to get a notification every week or every time I post a new video, then you must press the bell next to it. So press the bell, and then 3 different things will come up. Press the top one. I think it says like all of them. So yeah, like press that. And then if you want to comment, you'll see like directly under that there's a thing that says comments. I really like comments. I honestly prefer comments to just like a like or whatever, because like I like interacting with people and knowing you as a person, not just like some random person, well, not just like as a random number. So I'd love to hear from you down below, even if you just say like, hey, like like I'm watching from whichever like city or country that you're in. And yeah, like I'd love to know your own experiences with, example, journaling. Were you that person who, or are you that person who says like, I'm going to write a journal, and then you write it for 3 days and then that's the end of it? Or do you use journaling for different purposes? Like I know some people use journaling for different purposes, and some people like draw in their journals. So I'd love to know if you'd want to share, how do you do it? And also, do you have that thing with me where I find it hard to like fill up space, or to just like get a piece of paper and to write something or do something? Like I'd love to know. Or haven't you had that? Or yeah, like what are your experiences in general with creativity? Have you read The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron? What other books have you been reading? Yeah, just anything. I'd love to read your comments. I do always reply to them. And yeah, I think that's about it. And if you know anyone who would enjoy this video, then press share. You'll see like just like under the video, everything's there. The share button is like, it's kind of like an arrow, if I remember, like a curved arrow, if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, I think it's a curved arrow. It's kind of like that's like share, so you can share it with whoever you think would find this interesting. Yeah. So thank you very much, guys. Do hope that you have a wonderful 2021. I didn't wish that in my last video because I'd filmed that video before. Well, I filmed it in 2020 and I wasn't sure if I was going to post it in 2020 or 2021. But I do just want to say I hope you guys have a wonderful 2021. Last year was really like, I mean, a year that we've never had before. Like it was definitely something that was just like so unexpected, and like definitely one of those years that's going to stand out. And I mean, not the greatest year for everyone, but I mean, it has had also, like, I think sometimes bad things can be opportunities in disguise. In the beginning, something can look like this terrible thing, but sometimes it can actually just push you to do something, example, that you've never done, or to like help you reach your potential. I mean, there's opportunities in everything. But I do hope that 2021 is really incredible for you, and that you reach your goals and you really get everything that your heart desires. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I post a video every Saturday, so I'll see you next Saturday, and yeah, bye guys.